Hello and welcome to Underdogs, Bootstrappers, and Game Changers. This is for those of you that are starting with nothing and using business to change their stars. Motivating people who disrupted industry standards. This is the real side of business. This isn't Shark Tank. My aim with this podcast is to take away some of the imaginary roadblocks that are out there. I want to help more underdogs because underdogs are truly who change the world. This is part of our Content for Good initiative. All the proceeds from the monetization of this podcast will go to charitable causes. It's for the person that wants it. Hello and welcome to episode 2, Underdogs, Bootstrappers, and Game Changers. Really excited to talk to you today. If this is the first time tuning into the podcast, I really always want to hit home messages that are good for underdogs, or if you're just starting in business, or how to think differently so you can change the game. And my good buddy here today is Squalle, Pasquale, Christopher D. Pasquale, as it were.
It's the full.
Yeah, I get so used to just calling you Squalle these days, and everybody else
everybody
does.
knows me as Squalle.
Yeah. And well, that's the one of the things too is I know Squalle for a long time now, and just a little bit of background on Squalle. We actually met at kind of a fight club of sorts. Every Sunday we used to train together. By the way, I had no idea at first that group of guys was all prison training partners when we first joined.
Wasn't planned.
Yeah. So, but really good training. Got to know Squalle really well. One thing I absolutely love about Squalle, and we have so many commonalities that you're going to find out about today, is he's never afraid to break the mold and think of things. And so like in the fitness world, you got super into it, right? And like going in and doing what everybody else does, traditional machines and stuff. And then that wasn't enough for Squalle. And so he started building his own equipment. He's like, why does somebody say this is the way it has to be? So you literally started building equipment in your own shop. And then that led, so that was in EHP, remind me.
EHP, Engineers of Human Performance.
Yeah. So different swing. Hate to be called a personal trainer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I even have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Even the status quo.
Yeah.
The terms that have been coined. For lack of better terms, have all been brain screwed.
Sure.
And it's that way in many industries.
Well, and we're trying to fit everything into the same box.
Yep.
Right? It's like, who's to say the equipment in the gym is the perfect equipment?
Right.
And you said, no, it's not. And so you started developing your own. If you'll let me, folks, too, I'll actually put some of those clips on there. I don't know if he's going to let me because some of the patents are pending. But the other thing I want you to know about Squalle is you probably won't find him out there anywhere. And it's only because he hasn't put himself out there at all. He did what I did, and that's we locked ourselves behind our businesses. We used training and fitness to deal with our stress. Both of us have extremely broken bodies these days, and we can't give it up. And just kind of lived at our business, and that's why Squalle and I got to get along so well. Is like I don't know anybody else in the world at this point. I'm sure there's more that started the way you and I did.
Never uncanny.
Yeah.
Never met somebody who traveled at the same time down the same path.
Yeah.
Same bumpy roads, same turns. Yeah, a lot in common.
Yeah.
We both have experienced and felt a lot of the same things. I think can agree. We've both
parallel paths, really.
Made some of the same mistakes, and we're both still trying to figure out some of the same things.
Yeah, on a daily basis, And so the first thing I want to really approach is you and I have kind of embraced this grind mentality, and there's a lot of things on the internet that say, stay away from the grind mentality. You should only be working 40 hours a week. Work on your business, not in your business. And I would say, so we decided we're going to swear a little bit on this podcast. So Squalle doesn't feel so bad. I would say, how the fuck do you work on your business when you're the only person?
It's, and we still talk about it.
Yeah.
It's a conundrum, but there's no doubt.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that a lot of the advice that people give, it's overgeneralized. It's too simplistic.
Totally.
Okay. We get into these industries and we get this grind. Unless you started with a fat ass bank account.
Yeah.
Okay. Funded to the teeth.
Yes.
With all these people around you, basically already padded.
Yeah. Telling you every single way, every single piece of red tape to cut.
You're the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're the one with the passion. You're the one with the ideas.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, we do have fears. We don't just dive right into this this facet of business right away.
Yeah.
We start out in this direction.
Yep.
So a lot of us have to moonlight. You're already working a 30, 40-hour work week.
Yes.
And I've had that question presented to me so many times.
Yeah.
These younger kids, hey, Squalle, I want to start this. I want to start this own business. How do you do it? Because I bartended all these years as well.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't take that away for anything.
Sure.
Because that helped fortify.
Yeah.
But I pulled legit 24-hour days.
Oh, yeah.
And, there is no other answer than the fucking G word.
Totally.
The grind.
Absolutely.
Now, balance, and you got to find it.
Yeah.
But what relationship is the most important to you? So I've had this discussion with other colleagues that have families.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, look, you got relationships you need to consider. You want to be self-employed, become an entrepreneur, and do these great things.
Yeah.
That's your number one relationship.
Yeah.
That's a 24/7 marriage.
Totally.
You don't want to wake up one day and end up losing both.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just not the right timing.
Yeah.
Everybody could do it at some point, but you need to be 100% dedicated to the grind.
Yes.
And that grind very well could be 24/7.
And that's so one thing to add here, like most of the stuff online is about a very small percentage of the business. That's why people are saying, screw this grind mentality. That's wrong. Have life balance, have your employees take care of your business, that sort of stuff. That happens later, right? That doesn't happen at first. And so at first, the only thing you have as an underdog, if you're not heavily funded, if you didn't just raise $5 million in capital, because those are the people online talking about this stuff. The grinders, they're too busy, right?
Right.
They're too busy to talk about this stuff online, so you won't get stuff, right?
But then when you have a really extraordinary product,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Entity, idea, how long does it take to find those individuals that you can hand that baby over to?
Totally.
It take a long time, and maybe sometimes, as both of us can agree we've experienced,
Yeah.
maybe not possible.
Yep. Some products you're not, like we talk about scaling custom work all the time. It's like everybody wants to do custom work because it's cool.
Right.
You do a ton of custom work.
All custom.
That's how like the equipment went into now doing all kinds of crazy stuff. He's done a lot of stuff around town.
I'm running a full metal fab shop.
Yeah. So one thing led to the other, but we know custom work isn't scalable, right? It's only scalable to a certain extent because you can only find so much good labor for it, right?
Right.
So, but I, like you, we never looked into the business like, maybe wanted to have a huge business, but we started actually the wrong dreams to have a huge business. Actually, with your workout equipment stuff, could be a huge business.
Could be.
Yeah.
But when you want to continually buck the norm,
Yeah.
when you really, really want to be that extraordinary,
Yeah.
well, what is extraordinary? Extraordinary.
Yeah.
Right? Well, no offense to 90% of what's out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ordinary.
Totally.
Hey, successful individuals, no doubt, very successful, probably more successful than myself, but there's a lot of following.
Yeah.
And especially in the human performance industry and the equipment and the training.
Yeah.
Somebody sees something and boom, you see it 6 times after that.
Totally.
10 times. Next thing you know, everybody's just copying.
Yeah.
Cheap.
And there's a point I really want to get to, too. It's like, this is for the other side of business, right? This is for the 90% of us that don't start with the heavy funding, with a dad that can teach you about business or anything else. So the only thing we have in common with the people that do go those things is time, how you use your time, right? That's the only thing we have in common. So you and I know firsthand experience, you have to sacrifice to get to what you want, right? It's like both of us are in our businesses, 120-hour weeks. The only thing I made time for was workouts. That's it. Other than that, it was lock yourself behind your gates. You and I are so identical that way. Had to start from nothing. So I lived in a trailer on the back lot with no hot water, or no water whatsoever. Sorry. No electricity. You know what it was like taking a nap at 4:00 in the afternoon before going to train with you, the animals?
Yeah.
When it's 120 degrees outside the trailer.
Getting ready to go to bed where most people are just the most comfortable they could be.
Yeah.
Sitting on the edge of your bed with sweat dripping down on the floor.
Yep.
And, not saying that's the way it's got to be.
No, and we don't want it to be that way for everybody.
But it's a little window, a little glimpse into what we were willing to do.
Sure.
And it's not to say that we don't care about others, our family and friends. We don't want to have relationships.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not the right time.
No.
It can, you can either sacrifice this dream of this extraordinary ideal that you want.
Yeah.
Or there's going to be some sacrifice on this other side with some personal relationships. And I think, I'm not going to speak for you, but we were both so inundated.
Yeah.
I plowed everything aside.
Yeah.
And I think everybody knew that I still gave a shit about them, friends, family.
Oh, yeah.
I literally, everything.
Yep.
And I think both of us can agree there's obviously, you want to learn how to moderate.
Sure.
Moderacy.
Yeah.
But it can go too far.
Absolutely can.
And then it can become counterproductive.
Yes.
Next thing you know, you wake up and you're like, oh shit, I'm burnt.
Yeah.
Do I even want to do this anymore? And where's my circle?
Yes.
Where are all my family and friends?
Yeah. And not only
pushed them all aside.
When you do something a long enough time, your mind breaks in a different direction, right? Yeah. And so if you're used to 120 hour a week, if you were used to 26 training sessions a week, if you're used to dealing with brokenness and still pushing through that, mental toughness, right? It was one of the best and worst things I ever learned, because it's destroyed my body, but this was what worked, right? And so it's hard to change that formula. So then when you don't have to do it anymore and you move to the on your business phase, right? Where your employees are supposed to be picking up the slack, you're working on your business, you're not in the business. This, folks, is what I really wanted to talk with Squalle about, because actually we talk about this all the time. He'll call me and he'll say, Tyler, I just took a little bit of time to go do a yoga class or something.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm trying to restore a little bit now.
Sure.
I woke up all of a sudden and I realized, always able to recover.
Yeah.
1 week you feel a little burnt out, you feel a little tired, a little beat up. Next week you're back in it.
Yep.
Look, I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
After 2-3 decades, I'm not just talking about working hard.
Yeah.
I'm talking about 24/7.
Yes.
We're human.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I always knew this. I didn't mean to shove everybody aside. Balance. Yeah. We got to be careful.
Sure.
We need to surround ourselves with, you have the loved ones, you have and not saying that our loved ones, our friends can't be driven as well, but more often than not, they're trying to bring you back down to normal.
Yeah.
They're trying to talk to you about balance and staying healthy and why you're working so hard and be careful. And this.
Yep. Got to take a break.
It's good to have that. But in this type of grind, this kind of road, we got to make sure we surround ourselves with those mentors that have done that and get it.
Yeah.
To keep us fueled.
That's the biggest switch to try to pull. It's so you'll take a little bit of time these days and you'll call me and you're like, Tyler, I feel so guilty about taking this time off work, or we are produce. Yeah. Yeah.
Find that long goal. Yeah. Get there.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what.
I mean, you think of the tortoise and the hare, right? The hare is always running, stops, runs, right? Yep. You and I are like fast tortoises. Oh. Never stop. If you stop, the hare's going to get ahead, right? And usually your competitor, I know you've dealt with this too. Your competitors are billionaires, right? Yeah. How do you make up the distance on a billionaire? Like Mark Cuban actually said, work every day like somebody's trying to make it away or take it away. Yeah. It's well, Mark, you got a family now. It's you're doing some balance. This is one edge I can have. Right. We're actually starting a business. I don't even know. I might have to cut this. That competes with one of Mark Cuban's businesses. Yeah. And my thought is, it's Mark, I don't have a family. I'm still willing to do the 120 hours a week. I will work like somebody's going to take it away from me. That's my edge. Yeah. Right. So. Yeah.
But it's, I like that tortoise and the hare, because I think what I'm trying to do is try to push that guilt, all that guilt of being a little more of a fucking turtle. Yeah. Right? It's okay. Yeah. As long as you're still focused. Yeah. Little refocus, right? Yeah. And one of my biggest problems is lofty goals. Yeah. Lofty.
You have them.
Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
That turtle, man, I want to start focusing on those shorter ones, because everybody out there that really wants to recreate the wheel on their own, starting with nothing. Yeah. Don't expect it to happen the way you want, in the realm that you want. I mean, the patience, man. I never had patience.
Yeah.
You know?
No, me too. And it's always got to be bigger. It's always got to be better, including myself. You know, it's like, I'll allow everybody else in the world to be normal. You know, it's like, but no, not me. You know, no, you better get your 26 workouts a week in. You better work your 120-hour weeks. You know, you better be out there sweating in the sun. You know, you better be doing these things.
Yeah.
Right.
You do grab a hold of that threshold mentality. Yeah. And do have to be careful. I'm not trying to
I'm
a wuss and back down from it too much.
Yeah.
Because I do believe in continuing to find new thresholds to break through. That's life.
It's the edge.
And the edge but it's, if you do not continue to have that kind of mindset, you'll be broken.
But here's the thing that I think when I mentioned having this podcast today about like the grind, you know, especially because this is the other side of the grind. This is the way, underdogs, you can make up the distance. I'm sorry, and I hate this path for you. I hate to think about somebody living the way I did in a rat infested, you know, area and like living off $50 a week in this. I don't want that for other people. But if you don't have anything else, you still can do it, right? Squalle and I are like living examples that if you suffer, you can gain through that suffrage, right? If you do what other people won't do. When they're out Friday night, I used to tell myself, what do I have that I can edge the gap on people with? You know, it's like, well, not much, except when they're out on a Friday night partying, I'll be under a car, you know, like if you're
better lose that FOMO fast.
Yes.
Because it'll kill you.
Oh, totally. How is dating like when you're in this grind mentality? No woman wants to deal with you.
No. I mean, luckily, early on, I was bartending, so I had that little bit of social exposure. Yeah. You know, and still making money, so you're not out spending it.
Yep.
But came a point where it's like, I can't, you know, doing 3 different things, running a full business 10, 12 hours a day at training center, then filming and designing these training mechs, and then bartending. Yeah. At some point had to cut some of it.
Sure.
And, you know, that's when the work becomes your marriage.
Yeah.
You know, 100%.
Well, and that's where I would say so I had it easy. Really, nobody really counted on me, right? And it's an easy thing to find some success when it's like, and I talk about the golden couch all the time. I don't know if you've ever heard me talk about this, but the golden couch is somebody like Mark Zuckerberg, whose family was really wealthy. They can take a shot at a lofty business. And then if they fail, they land on the golden couch.
Well, that's just it. Like, if you're set up to take a shot with double-aught buck shotgun.
Sure.
Right? 10 times. Yeah. It's a little different than those of us that have to put a little pebble in a slingshot and keep trying.
And hit it once.
You know, a little different.
Totally. Well, and it's like, if your business means, so my choice was I make it or I'm homeless. There was no center ground to that, you know, like, and so you do make it, right? But you could take bigger risks, you know, and I know we've taken risks. We're still risk takers, right. But at the same time, I don't shoot for the loftiest risks all the time because I don't have a landing post. Nobody's going to save me. There's no net.
I'm one of the biggest culprits.
Yeah.
And fear.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck, man.
Yeah.
It's the biggest, dirtiest 4-letter word. We all know that.
And underdogs especially have the fear.
Yeah. How can you not?
Because there's no net. There's no golden couch.
So, you know, that fear, and then the perfectionism that is either there or comes from it. You know, I can't put this out until this is perfect. Can't do this. Motherfucker, one foot in front of the other and go. Yeah. Like that's me talking to me. Yeah. Continuing to tell myself to do it. Yeah. You know, because it's tough.
So one thing that's interesting is when you join this podcast, you have to sign a waiver. You know, much like you walk into Arizona Combat Sports and we sign a waiver so we can beat each other up and not be legally liable. So Squalle signed my waiver, so I'm allowed to do what I want to him in this room today. And like, Squalle, that would be one thing that like took me a long time, because you and I weren't social media people. You know, you're still not. No. And I would like the thought of being on a podcast. You know, we were offered 4 reality shows in my first business. Mm-hmm. I turned them all down. You know this, like very few people knew the charities I was involved with. Nobody actually knew the charities I was involved with. Nobody knew that I even owned a business most of the time. They thought my employees did. You know, it's like, but here's the thing. It's like, we're sitting behind the scenes and we actually have stuff up here that can be helpful, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of,
And here's the main thing, and I talk to a lot of people about this these days, is like, is evil ever humble? Is evil ever humble? If you get online right now, are we going to see somebody with their Ferrari saying, join my program for $50,000 a month? You know, like, because then you can be like me in the Ferrari. Is that guy humble?
You know, you wanna believe in the best.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe this person started here. They deserve this, that. But there's no doubt that the masses of the Tylers and the Squallies, there's too many out there that have something very extraordinary to offer.
Thank you.
Have worked their balls off.
Yeah.
And it's not anybody else's, fault but ours.
Sure.
We need to use those extraordinary tools that are available to us.
Yeah.
You got to grow.
Yeah.
And you got to jump in. So
how often am I telling you this stuff these days? Because this took me a lot of fear. I'm afraid every time I make a post, every time I make a podcast, I think about it, and you and I are perfectionists. Yeah. So I've thought of this in every single horrible way that it can happen. But then I'm mostly trying to focus on every single good way it can happen. Like a kid out there right now that doesn't think he can open a business, or she, and we've just told him, like, you can do it, right? Yeah, you absolutely can do it.
When you're in it,
yeah,
that first and that second, the step you didn't want to take.
Yep.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It's like, this sucks. This could be better. This could be better. What I'm trying to do is focus on the 100th and the 200th. You'll look back and you'll be like, oh, that was funny. Yeah. That was archaic in comparison to where we're at now.
Yeah.
But you won't even give a shit by that point.
Well, and you and I know this path all too well. I don't know what size you were in high school or whatever, but I wasn't a big guy in high school. I was skinny.
That's where see my bio. I was an artist.
Yeah.
If I could create something, that's it. I thought I was destined for art school.
Yeah.
That chip on my shoulder to see what I could do with my body and the human body and the thresholds took over.
Yeah.
And all that creativity for the next 3 decades just literally took over. And since then, I literally could create, a threshold out of anything to see what the body and the mind can produce.
Sure.
And that's how I started being able to develop these extraordinary training platforms and the equipment and everything else like that.
And that's
but it started
my point.
As a chip. It started as a little bit of a vendetta.
Sure. I mean, and that's my point to it. It's like you can see progress in our fitness journeys, right? Or training journeys or whatever. It's like you can see progress.
He's correcting himself because I don't even like the word fitness.
Yeah.
Human performance.
And so we've seen that progress, right? And then we've seen the business progress. And so if you don't start somewhere, and even with content creation, if you don't start somewhere, you never have the chance to grow into it, right?
So I'm feeling a little bit an undertone of lecture right now.
Yeah.
Because this has been the tone of our conversations lately.
You signed the waiver, dude.
He's my guy. These are my guys right here. They're gonna start to blow this shit up.
Yeah. I'm telling you, Squalle,
I'm the biggest culprit. I have over probably 50 gigs worth of film footage.
Yeah.
And for almost 4 to 5 years was filming daily.
Yeah.
And nightly.
Yeah.
With the training and the equipment. Somewhere along the way.
Yeah.
It got daunting.
Yeah.
Or the perfectionism took hold.
Yeah.
Well,
you and I are, it's never good enough people.
Yep.
Right. And and that's what I love, like some of my close friends like you is like, I truly believe, and if you're out there right now and like you grew up with a good heart, I truly believe this, like if you're a good-hearted person, get out there, train. Get involved with MMA. Oh. The world needs more, and that's what I love about you, Squalle. You're a good-hearted badass, and the world needs more good-hearted badasses, right? Those are the people that change the world. Those are people that'll stop on the side of the road and help somebody, right? Those are the people that will stick up for things that aren't right when they see them. It's like, and we didn't start that way. I speak for me, but I know a little bit about your history too. This woman on our Bully This podcast, she said, you become the hero that you needed when you were younger.
No doubt.
I wasn't this confident when I was younger. No. I wasn't this.
And that's a good, if you're not there yet.
Yeah.
That's something good, like a visual for people. Like
sure.
That's what you want to be.
Yeah.
Like take that little kid by the hand and picture yourself walking around with him, him or her. And it's a really good visual for people because it's what,
Would the you of today, let's say the you of today runs into your, 16-year-old self. Like, would he even recognize, would he even believe that the you of today is, would he even listen to you? Like, no way, dude, there's no way I grew up to be that.
No. I mean, prior to that, 16, 17, 18, that's when I really started like obsessing about any kind of training, any kind of physical, mental, anything that I could potentially get into. Prior to that, no way.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Same with me.
And others that knew me back then, family, friends, it was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
No way that's the same person.
And that's, and here's the thing, and I think you feel the same. It's like these struggles that you go through, like learning to train, doing the things wrong, getting it right, like now getting some confidence, learning to get punched in the face, learning to get back in there after getting punched in the face, learning to get hit in the face in business, progressing through that. These are all challenges that are hard, right? And I think since you and I, and this is another message I want for people out there starting with nothing, these challenges actually build you to other destinies, right? Like for me, it wouldn't be worth enough just for money alone to continue my success, right?
No. But it's almost, correct me if I'm wrong, but you almost feel like if you finish out the rest of the years of your life and you don't fulfill all of this that you have to give, it would be a sin.
Absolutely.
It would literally be a crime. And, people talk about at the end, you have regrets, of course, you're gonna have them. But when you feel that passionate that you have something that strong, that big to give. Yeah. I'm just saying just working your ass off for something but when you know,
we've gotten our ass kicked in business, especially, and it wouldn't be worth it if we didn't come out with the stories and share them. And I'm back to content again, right?
Yeah.
For the money alone, it's not worth it. For the story and helping somebody, hell yeah, it's worth it. Like the fires, the robberies, the unfair employees, the competitors turning me in, those are now stories that I use to help people with.
I have obviously both do. You have this dichotomy, social media.
Yeah.
It's being exploited, being used for mindless bullshit.
Yeah.
A lot of it, right?
Yeah.
And can literally entrance so many people and get addictive. But it's also this amazing learning self-development tool when you search for it.
Yeah.
When that's what you're looking for. If you don't get caught up in the BS, it's such an amazing tool.
Yeah.
I mean, those that, might need to go see a therapist or get, just resonating with there's so much good shit out there.
If we didn't read stories about people that had come from nothing and done something, how would we ever know that was possible for us either?
Because we don't ever believe it.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
No, you had this much money. You had this bit of luck. You had blah, 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 blah.
Well, and what sucks, Squalle, is most of the people that are boasting these things these days, it's like, they did have that. And then automatically, like some of us in the world go, well, they had that, so that's not me. It's like Mark Zuckerberg, he had, a extremely rich upbringing, went to Harvard, right? Got funded for a business that he stole. That's not what am I going to learn from Mark Zuckerberg? Right. That's this is not my life at all. It doesn't seem anything like a path that I can walk on, right? I'm going to end up in Harvard tomorrow and then I'm all of a sudden going to get handed millions of dollars to start a company that I stole.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm beating up on Mark Zuckerberg a little bit today.
Yeah, pick it. I mean, it's those... It reminds me of the way myself and one of my guys first started actually diving and building the training mechs.
Yeah.
We didn't have all this equipment.
Sure.
If people could see what we created, like you designed that and you built that.
Yeah.
With a grinder, a hand grinder, a welder, and a chop saw on the floor. And
great point.
I mean, no joke.
Yeah.
Brick by brick with our hands.
Yeah.
Not an infusion of money, taking it to some big engineering firm and, for fuck's sake, I tried to work with a few engineers, no offense, degreed engineers, but because I grinded 24/7 and didn't accept roadblocks and I had already figured everything out by the time they would try to solve questions I would ask.
There's so many good points there, and I just want to make sure everybody gets it.
Yeah, but that's one of the others.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
get the fuck out there, do your shit, make your mistakes, learn business, do your craft, be careful.
Yeah.
Relying on some institution for 4 or 5 years to teach you all these things. Get out and do it.
Yeah. No, right? You have to. I mean, and I'm a huge educational proponent as having gone to a lot of education, but I mean, the same is true in one of my businesses. We had a manufacturing company that did brand new vehicles approach us. And so we used to build, as you know, custom stuff in their vehicle, small run manufacturing stuff. And 9 times out of 10, I was correcting their engineers, or I would go over there and I'd have to change something because it didn't work in real life. But starting like the hammer, like you're talking about, and too many people like, I can't start because I don't have this tool.
Right.
And have you heard the story? Like, I got to look it up, but there's a guy that wanted to get into the belt business, like this belt, right? And the machine cost $100,000, right? And he's like, well, I don't have $100,000. I want to be in the belt and business. So he went out to Home Depot and he grabbed a bunch of parts. He threw them all together. It was like $6,000. He was in the belt business. And guess what? That machine now is the one they use in the industry.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what you're talking about. It's like you started with a hammer and you've developed this thing that you're afraid to put out in the world, which you need to start doing.
People always ask.
Yeah.
And, well, as Tyler just says, I shouldn't be afraid to do something.
Yeah.
And I'm getting ready to say, don't be fearful of trying new things. But, people always ask, how'd you learn how to do this? How'd you learn how to do that? How'd you learn it?
Doing it.
Just trying it.
Yeah.
I didn't go to some school or go to, to go learn.
Sure.
You dive in and you get your hands dirty, right? And you go and you fail.
Yeah.
But then you learn.
I mean, so we had the second largest powder coating setup in the city, third largest, something like that. Yeah. And it's like, I didn't know anything about powder coating when I first started. I sat there with a textbook, and I was used to this because, speaking of school that you're bashing on, I was finishing my biochem degree.
I mean, hey, look, we both have college degrees.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take that away for anything.
Yeah.
But luckily, I developed a passion for what I was studying.
That's where I agree with you, yeah.
And never intended to actually take the degree to go get a conventional job with it.
Yeah.
I took that knowledge along.
Oh, I'm not a biochemist.
Right. and then went and was able to do the things and see things in a different way than others because of that education. So I'm not sitting here saying, I don't have an education or people shouldn't do it. Yeah. Just be careful what you're expecting out of it.
You need both, right? And I want to get back to this powder coating machine because like you need both in life. You need the education. And then also it's like, you don't go into our MMA gym, and say, I'm here, I showed up, make me awesome, right? You can't do that at school either. You have to show up too. You have to like learn something. You're like, whoa, that's pretty cool. Now I'm going to go out and study this on my own, right? But with the powder coating stuff, I was so used to like turning over my books when I first started my first business I was still finishing my biochem degree when I started my first business. So every night, 8:00, pull out the books, right? And study until I went to bed. Well, I was used to doing that. And so like I picked up after I graduated a powder coating book, textbook, and I read it for a year. And then I originally got a little oven like you would use at home to bake cookies, and I got this tiny little setup and I started playing with powder coating. And then when I got the hang of it, then eventually I looked and I found this beautiful set of powder coating equipment, huge oven that you could drive a car into and a couple more. And that's what got us into the powder coating business. And by the way, this also set up a barrier to entry for my competitors because nobody else was doing their own powder coating, right? Yeah. So we had faster turnaround times, we had better costs, all these things. And so that was literally from picking up a textbook, like you're saying.
And a point there that's stupid important for the long road. As far as needing to have a passion, a real legit foundation of passion for this road, this grind.
Yeah.
Because you're not coming out the other end still wanting to do it, not being broken.
Yeah.
You know, hey, some get lucky, but this long road, it has to start with a passion for something.
Sure.
And case in point, the studying.
Yeah.
I got years of college and a degree.
Yeah.
I can't read. I can read. I can read. I can't sit down and read a book that I don't give a shit about.
Yeah.
But I can study and learn anything if I'm passionate about it.
Totally.
That's my ADHD, right? And so that's super important point, because if it doesn't start with that passion, like I couldn't even focus on it for a second.
Yeah.
I can't even take a piece of furniture. I got to build it my way.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want to look at that's how bad I am. So
here's my biggest point to college too. And I didn't mean to dwell on this so much. It's like, if you start it, you need to finish it. I don't care. Right? I mean, too many people out there, the message is, I dropped out of college. Should we pick on Zuckerberg again? So I dropped out of college and I became a billionaire, right? That's not true for most of us that started from nothing. You know, it's like, I'm not saying everybody needs a college degree. I'm a huge proponent. I owned custom auto shops at one point. Those guys make well over 6 figures a year. You don't have to do it. But my point is, if you decide to do it, finish it, right?
Right.
And you will finish it if it's your own resources. It's like Mark Zuckerberg didn't pay for his own schooling.
Yeah.
If I would have dropped out, I'm a fool. And you know, you never know how you're going to use something either, right? My biochemistry stuff, it made me really good at dumbing things down to myself so I could understand it. And now I help people win business with it, because I can break down complex subjects. I can make them really interesting and easy. And that's what I really gained from that, right? That, and it, you know, obviously I get to build my own supplements and you know, understand my body more, you know, so.
But that's another, I don't want to now create another tangent, but that was something else that I think about. Another thing that I'm getting better about. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Those of us that are this driven and this passionate and willing to go and start these entities and these going down these roads that most people are like, nah, I'm gonna sit in the parking lot. You have to, and some people are good early on at knowing.
Yeah.
Here's where my skill lies. Yeah. Or my skills lie.
Here's my lane. Yeah.
I'm not good at this, and this. And you need to surround yourself with those people. Yeah. I'm very stubborn. Yeah. I can't follow. Yeah. It's taken me this long to realize. Yeah. And that's why it's so good networking with you, and realize I'm the most creative motherfucker on the face of the earth. Yeah. There's nothing I can't create. Yeah. Right. And now build. But the structure, the organization of the business side, especially being a small business, it can be something that can take all that away from you. You have to know, or know that you have the ability to grasp and take the time to learn it. Which here's an individual that everybody's going to want to be turning to for that, plug intended. But you know, you have to know.
You do, and that's actually one of the major parts with small business. You know, somebody's amazing plumber, they're amazing electrician, they can't just figure out the business ops, right? So, and so that's something I'm passionate about too, is making all that stuff easier for people, because it kind of, you know, it can be, you know, and like the reason I learned is because I figured it out all the hard way. I got my ass kicked on it. As we know, this is the best way to learn. You get punched in the face a couple times, you keep your hands up better, right? Business is no different. You get hit with a couple things, you know, you keep your hands up better.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, it's some people are blessed. Yeah. They can be good at all of it. Yeah. Or they can lie. Yeah. And figure out how to fake it. Yeah. You know, it's taken me long enough, you know, but there's a point that, you know, hopefully those out there that are, you know, taking heed to some of this, they realize it sooner than later. Drop your fucking ego. Yeah. And realize what you're really good at. Yeah. Know what you know and know what you don't know. And surround yourself with good people. Yeah. Right.
I mean, we don't think about this either enough, but big business, right? CEO, he has a master of everything beneath him, right? Mm. He's in charge of strategy, and that's it. You don't get that choice when you start independently, right? You have to learn how to do a little bit of all of it.
But then CEFNOO.
Yeah, absolutely. The good thing though is you can gather, like, I didn't know I was going to be good at accounting, Squalle. I had no idea, and I didn't know I was going to become a nerd passion for it. Like,
I always thought maybe you were kind of a numbers guy.
I don't know, but yes, I guess. I never knew it, but
yeah. But once again, you didn't, but you had a passion that drove you to need to investigate that.
Well,
right?
I love data. Is what it came down to, and I'm big on how do you make decisions and gathering information to make decisions. And when I realized that having a good P&L that was properly put up was now a crystal ball for my business, it allows you to make better decisions, right? And so when I embraced that, I was like, man, you better not miscategorize that, that expense there. That better be in the right bucket, because like I want complete clarity in my books so I can make good decisions. So you have to realize that it's not a pain in the ass to sit down and do your books when you realize what the outcome could be. Right. But accounting's for a different day.
No, but once again, some might not think of it as a short-term goal.
Yeah.
That's a baby step goal that needs to be achieved.
Yeah.
And that's where I've very often fallen short is I'm reaching for this constantly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that little bit of time on those P&Ls, I'll know because my mindset was always, headhunting like a freight train to the big goals.
Yeah.
And I kind of overlooked a lot of the smaller goals that I guarantee would make my life much easier.
Yeah. Well, and everybody's like, oh, I'm just going to get an accountant for that part. Here's the issue is it's like, I tell people all the time, until you can afford an in-house accounting person, I'm sorry, be in your books a little bit at least. You need to know what's going on. This is a silly analogy, but the other day they upcharged my dumpster fee on me, right? I noticed it right away because I'm in my books a little bit, So sure, I have CPA, generally handles a lot of that stuff, but I like to classify things too. And that's this frustrates the heck out of me. That's what people do to small businesses too. The dumpster company knows that you probably have a bookkeeper that just chalks that up to an expense and you'll never know, right? Nobody's going to get on the phone and ask why the phone bill's increasing. No bookkeeper off site is going to be able to catalog your transactions perfectly for your business. They're going to guess at it. Yeah. And now you're in the wrong buckets and you don't have that crystal ball.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to get to accounting on a different episode, but it's important to touch on that sort of stuff. You and I are talking about the grind,
right.
And so we initially, I want to talk about the benefits of the grind, which we did, but you and I now suffer this, right? It's like I started to say, you'll call me and say, Tyler, I feel so guilty for going out and doing this today. Or, I was in Europe and I'm feeling guilty every single day that I'm just kind of enjoying myself or whatever, because I'm so used to that mentality of getting things done every day. I mean, now, wouldn't you say this is when you take some time for yourself, it's hard to enjoy it, isn't it?
Yeah, I just believe it's like any other addiction. I mean, it gets really tough.
Yeah.
And look, we're not talking about 10 years of hard work, or we're talking about 2 to 3 decades. We're talking about 363 plus days a year, 18 hours a day, literally hibernating in this task or this business. And think about that. Think about then coming out and trying to normalize that a little bit after all those years.
Especially when it's worked.
And when you're not quite to your quote unquote envisioned pinnacle, right? I can't say what it would be like if I felt like I was there, quote unquote, right?
But you're never going to feel there.
No, true. Because, right, exactly.
Yeah.
But we
find a new challenge the second that
closer felt like, but that makes it even that much more difficult. When you're like, I got a ways to go.
Yeah.
And you have been in that mentality for so many years of where, the little bit of sleep you try to get, you wake up an hour later and you're going and you're creating.
Yeah.
I'm getting up. I'm getting up and I'm going to finish my thoughts.
Yeah.
When I'm driving, when I'm doing anything.
Yep.
So to try to scale that back and turn it down.
That's the danger. You and I don't have the answer to it either. And so I think it's important to know that this is a piece of something you can do to be successful. But I don't know, maybe the answer is you pull off the gas a little bit but the problem is once you have one thing, You're like, I've got to get the next thing. I got to grow. I got to get bigger. I got to get another location. I got to open this other business. You know, once you have that, and especially after the fear is driven away, I don't know if it was like this for you, but I was afraid to death to open my first business. So scared and pushed into it. And like, I didn't think that was for me. I thought that was for the guy with the rich dad that would show him how to do it, you know? And then I did it. And now the world's my oyster. I see business everywhere. You know, my problem is holding myself back at times, you know?
Well, right.
Which is why I like working with business people.
Exactly.
Is because I get to jump into their business and help them.
Back to surrounding ourselves with like-minded and don't know what defines competent, but individuals that can help you.
Yeah.
Right. Gotta like blinders.
Yeah. And where to look for help when you need it. You know, it's like, and I want to say this on my own defense, because I know a lot of podcasts out there are like people trying to be business coaches and not stuff. I'm not a business coach. I don't even like to be called a business coach. I do it for free. You know, I've traveled around for the last 2 years.
You're a mentor.
Helping people. Yeah. Mentor's good. You know, it's just like you don't like to be called trainer. I don't like to be called business coach because I don't charge money for it. My win on it, you know, my hippie hypothesis to the whole thing is if I get more people with good hearts, more Squallies, more other people that have this amazing heart, make them badasses in business, now they become successful and they do things for the world, right?
Jesus. Could you, I mean, it's one of my ultimate goals.
Yeah.
Going through this road.
Yeah.
Is to become an angel investor.
Yeah.
I swear to you, I can't tell you how many people I would love for that to be attain a goal where that was my business.
Yeah.
To help these driven people. And you're doing this off of energy. You're doing this off of knowing this is a good person and they're an ass kicker and they
deserve a break.
They've killed it.
Yeah.
And you know, because people don't like to hear that. They, you know, say, no, none of us, we don't deserve anything.
Yeah.
But I think what we all deserve is more really, you know, awesome people succeeding in business, small business, because then we will have more of that. Right?
Absolutely. It's a flywheel, right? And the wealthy are entitled. They're entitled to their success. I'm going to have it. My uncle was a doctor. My cousin started a $1 billion company. These are normal people to them. I was with them at this family reunion. He's an idiot. He, you know, dunks his head in the toilet at parties, you know, whatever, you know, and it's like, I can do that too. And I think that's part of the problem with the underdog scenario is like, they don't see the normalcy of wealthy people, successful people. They're normal, you know, completely normal. And in fact, a lot of them had been given breaks, right? But some of you aren't going to be given those breaks. And Squalle and I are talking about the ways that you can make up that distance, you know?
Yeah, it's the breaks are going to come from an intentional, educated grind.
Yeah.
Which we didn't.
And then learning how to back that off and enjoy it.
Which I was getting ready to say, we didn't necessarily in all aspects follow.
Yeah.
We grinded.
Yeah.
We dirty, gritty grind.
Yeah.
But I think where we would like to help people, where I know you want to help people, is, look, I'm willing to talk about all my shortcomings and the fact that I'm not there yet and all my failures, because once you've traveled through it, once you've been through it, fuck, man, like not just resilience, but the amount of help that you can give people.
Sure.
Like, a more intentional, educated grind.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to speak for myself.
Yeah.
Mine was just a balls to the wall, passionate, like go.
Yeah.
Determined motherfucker.
Yeah.
I can't say that there was a whole lot of educated, intentional. I didn't follow handbook. Maybe I didn't lean on mentors as much as I should have. No, I'm going to do this. I can do it.
I didn't have any that I could think of.
You know?
Yeah.
So
for me, it was anger.
Yeah.
I was angry at the world.
Vendetta.
I was angry at things that were unfair to me, people that were unfair to me, people that told me that I would never be able to do anything.
Yeah.
You know how much motivation I gained from that? It was hard, right? It's like, initially it was hard running a business and pursuing a degree that was complex. And, every time I didn't want to pull that chemistry book out at the end of the night, I'm like, they wouldn't want you to do that either. I'd be at the gym. I've told you this before. I'd be at the gym and I'm like, I don't really want to do that last pull-up. They wouldn't want you to do that last pull-up.
I mean, the battles, the things, the obstacles that you have to overcome.
Yeah.
Yourself.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
Yeah.
The biggest.
Do you have yourself figured out?
Fuck no.
Me neither.
But I'm determined and I'm willing to fucking figure it out every day. I don't care how, but now I know I'm trying to, been many years, man. It's just the same as physical rehab for surgeries. And I'm trying to do things better. I am trying to work with that B word a little bit more, whether it's just a break right now and give myself the okay to do it.
Yeah. You've earned it.
And I already feel some of that energy coming back, but it's scary as shit because you feel like maybe you've lost it. Like maybe I lost that drive and that creativity and what if it doesn't come back? But then you're also, that next obstacle is going to be the people around you. Yeah. They can squash you. Yeah. Squash you in the most loving, most like good intentioned way. They can squash you. Yeah. Because the stuff that they will, well, what happens if this doesn't work? What are you going to do if it doesn't work? What are you going to do if it doesn't work? You need balance. You shouldn't work so much. You should blah, 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 blah. And
work on your business, not in your business.
And these are the people that care about you the most. Sure. Because most people have followed that normal path and more power to them if they're happy. But we're not that way. No, and it's hard for people to see that because they get inundated with the same stuff everybody else does too. Of course. It's like you're working too hard in your business kind of thing. And I'm the person, yes, eventually you have to get to a point where you're working on your business. And that's a hard shift. No doubt. They call it going from the grass to the bleachers or whatever. And that's a hard thing when you're going to go up, especially when you're used to I don't want a boss that doesn't work harder than me. I don't want a boss that isn't willing to give up sacrifices. I don't want a boss that I beat to work every day. So that in itself, to be a leader worth following is a lot of work, right? It's like, I won't give you a job that I won't do myself. And quite often, I'll do it with you, right? Oh, of course. With all the different types of training I've done and the teaching, people are like, holy shit. Yeah. Like, I'm going to try to crush you. But I'll stand right there and I'll show you there's nothing that I'm going to put somebody else through mentally or physically that I haven't done or because there's no way, okay? Yeah. There's no way that you can authentically and with respect manage and lead people if you can't prove that you've done it or you know how to do it. Yes. That you'll get seen straight through. Thank you. Straight through. Thank you. And that makes that on versus in. So honestly, the answer is you have to be able to jump between both of them. You have to work on your business. You got to know when, okay, I need now enough's enough. Yeah. I need to try to find the right person. Yeah. And that ain't easy. I worked at a restaurant, and one of the things they used to do at the restaurant is we weren't, like you and I are into fitness. We like to eat too, right? They wouldn't allow you in a 15-hour shift to eat. Incredible. I had to actually look into the rules and see if that was legal. But what they did was they allowed the managers to eat a couple meals a day and they ate right in front of you. It's like, how are you going to ever respect that manager? They were ruining the horrible system, right? Most of the time when people have come into my businesses, they think I'm the landscaper at times, and I like that, right? I like that a lot. So I'm going to keep my mouth shut. This will be another time. Yeah. We'll have to talk about that. Yeah. Obedience versus respect. Yeah. In business. Something we've beat our heads against the wall very often because we both believe in respect. Yeah. First. Yeah. And it's earned, not given. But even with employees, they don't owe it to you if you're not going to give it to them. But you gotta be careful. Yeah. Totally. They're not peers. That was episode 1, folks. Don't take that the wrong way. No disrespect. No. They're not below whatsoever. respect, but you gotta be careful. I'm just helping a colleague out who literally might have run the risk of crumbling a business because becoming too much of a peer with his workers.
See, that's a problem nobody knows about, but it is a problem.
Drinking and going out with them. And then the next thing you know, they're looking at you like, hey, hypocrite, what are you trying to reel me in for? And talk to me about discipline. Because
that's the other side of business.
Yeah.
That's the part that nobody talks about because we care about these people. Yeah. You and I are caring people in general. Of course, you're going to care about the people you work with every single day.
And what are you going to get from a cutthroat businessman?
Yeah.
Slow to hire, quick to fire.
Yep.
I've heard it countless times.
Yeah.
Countless.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
It's so hard for me to be that way with people.
Oh man, I always think, I don't think about the person. I think about their family. I think about all these other things. And it's hard, but Mark Randolph, he's the founder of Netflix. He has some good stuff out there. And one thing I love about him is he's out there and he's teaching people business and he wants nothing in return. There's not very many people out there like that. But he said, you have to treat your business like a sports team. And I thought that was pretty decent, actually. It's like, so when somebody isn't making the cut, you have to make those cuts.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I always struggled with because traditionally, if you look at most businesses, as they grow, they lose most of the original staff. But we're such loyal people, that's hard to even fathom, right? So, but you owe the success of your business, and we went over this in the episode, you owe it to yourself, your family, your really good employees that are working hard, and the future of what you'll do with that success. If you let somebody drag the ship down just because you feel bad for them, it's like they've done that. You didn't do that, right?
Yeah. So. When you're driven, you're passionate.
Yeah.
And the other P word, I'm sure, slides in there a little too much, the perfectionism.
Yeah.
Which, there becomes this really tough battle.
Yeah.
That I've literally sat down and let me get on this. Talk to Squalle like this.
Yeah.
Are you being a perfectionist?
Yeah.
Or is this person really not living up to your standards?
Yeah.
And that's very difficult. I mean, honestly, I would have ended up doing it anyway. But one of the reasons that once I'm in a type of business, I can study the economics long enough to see there are some that just doesn't fly, doesn't work.
Thank you. Yes.
It doesn't. I'm sorry.
No, some business models don't work.
I don't care what anybody says. Now, it can work if you scale that business model and turn it into, let's say, a franchisor.
Sure.
But just that one particular business. So there's a lot of entities in the quote unquote fitness world that unfortunately some individuals out there thinking about. Yeah. Some things don't work for the long haul.
And you'll have people online that are ill intention that'll tell you they will, just so they can sell something.
I always wanted to do something very super extraordinary.
Yeah.
And when I say extraordinary, I mean every minute of the day, everything that had to do with our product was extraordinary.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people really break that word down often enough and realize it doesn't mean I'm better than anybody else, but it means that there's not one chance for anybody to ever say that every waking minute of every day, I'm not out of the ordinary with what I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you get what you aim for too, right?
Right.
By making it known, by pronouncing it and recognizing it.
But individuals I had working with me, other strength conditioning specialists and trainers, a little bit of friction because they're like, oh, why are you so this? Why are you so that? You're above and you want to be so extraordinary. Why can't you just, no, this is what I want. And if you can't put in the time to be that, then I don't want it.
Yeah.
And it was one of the reasons I started shifting from the training to building the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Because I knew that was something I could control.
Man, this has been awesome, Squalle.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we're at an hour, but I mean, really the take homes that we wanted for people today is, once again, I think you have to embrace the grind. I think it's a thing that you can use as a tool. Learning how to finally pivot out of that is difficult. Talking about content, it's one of the few ways in this world that we can, I read founder of Walmart's book, and he said, one of the ways you can compete with Walmart as a small business is you can personalize your business, right? What better way to show what your business is than talking on camera like this, showing who your employees are? It is important. Overcome your fear with the content stuff because your success is more important and what you're going to do with it, right? And I'm talking to Squalle today too about that.
Yeah, you have to.
And embrace the grind until you don't have to.
Well, exactly. And, you know,
and learn to live life too, because
grind with capital letters.
Yeah.
Somehow you have to put the reins on it. You have to learn, you have to know how to stay entrenched.
Yeah.
But you got to know how to keep the reins.
I agree.
And harness it.
We'll probably come back with Squalle at some point and see if we got this grind thing a little bit more figured out and how to shift that off. So be careful with it. It's a great tool, but a dangerous one.
Yeah.
So
great time, Tyler. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, man, for coming on. You know, at least we got an hour to chat.
Yeah.
So thanks for tuning in. Underdogs, bootstrappers, and game changers. We'll be back with another episode next week.